Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday Night Muse Show with your host, Sound Engraver, or hostess, probably host. Is that how they do that on TV? I don't know. I haven't. I don't think I've seen a TV in 17 years. But anyway, hopefully audio is good. Can you guys hear me all right? And I'll see if YouTube's up. If not, I'll just exit out of YouTube and just stay on StreamYard. Yes, I can see and hear me on YouTube, so that's always a good sign. Sounded good from what I could hear, so if you guys can say what audio sounds like, that would be great. If you can see me, hear me, everything. Well, welcome to chat. This is going to be a pretty relaxed stream. This will be my last stream for 2 Mondays, and I will return on the 12th of October. But this will be just kind of a casual kickoff to this hero theme series that I think I'm going to be doing, and how to compose a hero's theme. You know, what goes into a good hero's theme. And I think we'll take it away soon, but let's go ahead and welcome the chat. So let me see if audio is good. Sounds great. Professor Geek says sounds great. And okay, Agent Boomer, I can't stay for the stream, but I wanted to wish you well. Good. I wanted to say, before you go, I just finished listening to your stream, and you guys cracked me up. Your last stream was a really good one. I really enjoyed pretty much all of it, and you guys had me just dying a couple times. So good job, Agent Boomer, Trebuchelli, and Wolf10 as special guest for this last week. So yeah, very good. All right. So Trebuchelli does say correctly that Mr. Matchstick was first. I think Troy was second, right? And Agent Boomer says he was second, but I think Troy was second because Troy, talked after me and all of that. And he says, I could be second if I want to be. And I think there's going to be some math involved here now. But Professor Geek says, I'm ready to cheer on Sound Engraver with my electric blue and tennis ball green pom-poms at the ready. And what that means, of course, is he was very nice. He was very kind to remember my two favorite colors, electric blue or tennis ball yellow green. Or if there's no tennis ball yellow green, I'll settle for lime green. But electric blue and lime green are my two favorite colors. And after that, I think every color is fine. I don't really have a favorite color, except those two. All right. And Troy Pacelli says, this is about hero themes. Maybe break out a cape and trunks. Well, I do support that aesthetic. Capes and trunks are very, very important. And we'll be talking about what to do. What can composers do to create a good hero theme? Now, remember, hero theme, music theme, is a musical statement. It's a melody. There are hero motives out there, or motifs out there, like a leitmotif or motives, a musical motive, like Danny Elfman's Batman '89 musical motive. I gotta listen to the animated series soundtrack, or maybe even Mask of the Phantasm. But I'm gonna check this, guys, and you guys can plug away at any recommendations. But does Batman have a theme? Does Batman have a theme? If he does not have a theme, I will compose one for him. I will later when I come back from my trip. But he has a musical motive, and it's wonderful. Elfman's score is wonderful. And Shirley Walker's score for the animated series is also wonderful. But I have to hear, I can't really remember if Batman did have a theme. He has great introduction music to that animated series, but I have to remember if there's an actual melody. And if there's not, actually, if there isn't, what I'll do, I won't do this for a live stream. I'll probably do this for a fixed commentary video, but I will show you how to compose a good Batman theme. What would go into Batman, a musical theme for Batman, with the nature of his environment and who he is as a character. But yeah, anyway, plug in some answers. If I'm missing something obvious, let me know if Batman has a theme. Danny Elfman's wonderful score, I'm afraid, does not count. I apologize for saying that because it is a good score. I like the score. All right, so let's continue welcoming the chat, and then it'll be an impromptu. I don't have any notes or anything. I just gonna look at the camera the whole time. But let's see who is in the house. Daniel Heron. Okay, this is a really good. Oh, this is so good. This is such a good question. I'll try to get back to it later. But the question is, how important is the perfect fifth in developing hero themes? Well, I will get to that because we'll talk about the perfect fifths. We'll talk about intervals and all of that. So just in case I forget, Daniel, you're gonna have to pop this question in later down the chat if I do forget, because I feel like I will. But no, it's so important. Wolf 10. Oh, hey there, Sound Engraver. Good luck on the vacation. I appreciate that. I just need blessings and good luck between 9:35 a.m. Eastern Time to 11:17 Mountain Time. And then I should be fine. There we go. Big Al says, believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. That kind of reminds me of the song Living on a Prayer, but that's not what you're talking about. I also think of that one Kenny Loggins, I think it's Christmas. You're walking in the air, you're floating on a moonlit sky. Did I have that right? That's probably 18 years since I've heard that song. And I think it was Kenny Loggins. And Netter's Network is in the house. Hi, Netter. And here she is saying hi to everyone. And Al wishing me a good show. I hope it's good. And Troy Pacelli says, Big Al presents, that is a classic. Ooh, sorry, I don't know the reference. That is a classic superhero theme. Talk about aspirational or inspirational. I don't know. Troy Pacelli also says, Sound Engraver hasn't seen, okay, I've seen ATV. I've been in Walmart in 17 years. That explains her. Another word I'm not familiar with, persipacity. Okay, I'm going to know how to pronounce this. Let's see. I have no idea how to even pronounce that word. I'm usually good at this, so I'm going to look it up right now because this looks like a good word. No, that's not how it is. Anyway, it's the quality of having a ready insight into things and shrewdness. Well, apparently this is the first word I've run into that I can't even pronounce. If someone wants to put the how I would pronounce that in nice capital letters, go to it. But thank you, I appreciate that. I usually pride myself on my vocabulary, but it ain't happening tonight. All right. So it looks like I have everyone. Oh, Melissa Harris, Superman March. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. And Batman 66, the Batman theme. Okay, so I'm going to have to check out Batman 66. Well, apparently not. Not in this incident or instance. And according to Netter's Network, Big Al was quoting the greatest American hero theme. And quoting, Daniel Craig was saying he was quoting lyrics to the old television show, The Greatest American Hero. Cool. See, okay. Oh, thank you, Troy. Perspicity. No, it's not. Perspicity. Okay, Catty. I think it's K. Whatever. I'll look it up another time. That's great. It looks like a good word, and as soon as I know how to pronounce that word, I will use it all the time. All right, but we're not talking about big words today. We're talking about music. We're talking about how to compose a hero's theme. Now, I will just say right off the bat, you guys probably know this. I'm not a film composer. I am a composer, but I know my thing with melody and with harmony and bass and rhythm and structure and nuance and all of that good stuff. So we'll probably keep this short. Let's first start just talking about in general, what to expect of a hero theme in general. I would say, especially with really good iconic film scores and these iconic characters that we know and love dearly, let's start with structure. Okay, so and structure really ties in with melody. For a theme, you need a melody with a structure. And not only that, you need the structure to have phrasing and cadence, like a sentence has phrasing and cadence. And the most memorable themes are usually up to 8 bars in length. This is not true with every case, but let's take the Superman theme. That Superman theme, the main theme is 8 bars in length, and it's composed of 4 2-bar phrases. And the 2-bar phrases are important because you have a question phrase or an antecedent phrase followed by an answer phrase or a consequent phrase. And with the Superman theme in particular, it's repeated. There's just a little bit of variation in the answer phrase. And then we get this kind of swelling, this kind of focal point in the next phrase. So we have the first 4 bars followed by the next 4 bars, concluding that grand phrase, that grand melody. So for a hero theme, especially for an aspirational hero like Superman, but any hero, you need something memorable. You need something that has structure, that has predictability. I've run into artists, or at least I had in the past, especially in college, where they kind of scoffed at predictability. They kind of thought, well, no, you got to be experimental. You can't really let the audience know what's going to happen next. Kind of that mood. And there's room for that, of course, but not for a hero theme. You need structure. You need phrases. You need cadence. So like I've always compared a melody to something with grammar, like with a sentence. A complete sentence, especially a complex sentence, includes clauses. So you'll have one clause. That's a clause, and then you'll have a concluding clause. And so melody has to have that kind of language itself. It has to have that structure. So structure should be, it's not every case, but structure should have that symmetrical quality to it. I would say if you're a new composer and you're working on a project, maybe you have a friend who's just starting to do film work, or maybe a game developer, and they say, well, why don't we just try to start something together? So you're the music composer, your friend is the game developer, and they have these characters and they have these themes for these characters. Well, it'd be beneficial to you to have something memorable. And what's memorable is actually something that is symmetrical, that is usually divisible by 2. Start with 8 bars, maybe start with 4 bars, but really I'd go to 8 bars. Sometimes 4 bars can actually be a little bit more motivic because it is shorter. You have more condensed amount of time. So 8 is a very nice musical number. Things that are divided, that are divisible by 2 and 4 and 8. So structure is the first thing. Now it's not to say that you can't be a little asymmetrical. Maybe add maybe add like 4 measures with the meter 4/4, and then add 2 measures of 8/8, which actually can be grouped in 2s and 3s. And it doesn't have to be divisible by 2 or something like that. So there's always room for creativity, but I would say if you want something deeply rooted, you want to feel solid in something, deeply rooted in something, I would go with structure, especially with symmetry and phrasing and good cadence between the phrasing. Like like punctuation between clauses and all of that. The second thing was structure. As I had mentioned with predictability, it has to be repetitious. Repetitious. I'm going to say this, and I'm so adamant about this, but repetitious repetition is actually not repetitious. It's not repetition in a bad way. It's not seen as repetitious in a bad light. You want that repetition. So I mean, of course I can hum the Superman theme. Why don't I? I don't want to go too far because I have some good commentary for you next Monday. I'll post some good commentary for you on the Superman theme. But the Superman theme is the main theme is 8 bars constructed in 2-bar phrases. Let's see. Bum ba dun dun dum bum bum ba da dum. Okay, so that's the first 2 bars, and then it repeats. Da 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 dun da dun 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 da da dun da. That's the next 2 bars. Well, that's the exact same melody as the first 2 bars. The only difference is the variation on that A. Bum. You know, the A starts on that nice, hard, strong beat 1, and then you resolve on the tonic, which you resolve on the subdivision. It adds a little bit, it causes it to be just a little bit more engaging, but it's the same melody. Now, the next phrase, to conclude that melody, it is da, 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 dum, like that. And then the pickup, bum, 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 ba, dum. Well, it's the same thing. And then it concludes, bum, 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 ba, da, 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 bum, 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 and then it repeats again. So you have 8 bars, and then it repeats again. That repetition is not bad. That's not a bad thing, and especially with talking about a character or musically depicting a character who has who is constant in something like virtue or goodness or constant in a kind of nature. Well, repetition is a very good way of musically depicting that. So you do need structure. You do need that sense of phrasing and cadence and language. And you also need repetition. You can add a little bit of variety, just a little tiny bit of nuance, extra nuance, maybe in the next 2-bar phrase or the next 4-bar phrase. You can add a little bit of new harmony to the final 4-bar phrase, so to speak. Not so to speak, but as an example. But stick with repetition when talking about a character, because you have to know the music like you know the character. You know, you have to that piece of music is true to that character. That's really important. That's what film composers ought to do when composing for a character, for a theme, for an idea, for a setting. But we are talking about the hero, so I would say the hero, composing for the hero for a specific character actually probably would be different than composing for a world or a setting or a kind of idea. I think there's room to experiment. You know, it's kind of like it's kind of like the game Chrono Trigger. This is kind of a sidebar, but you know, Chrono Trigger has awesome, memorable themes, especially for the characters. Now I've always called her Shala. Now I've never played the game, but I know what the game looks like. I know the story and stuff like that, and I love the music. I think her name is Shala, but I've also heard that her name is Scala, and I kind of like Shala, so I'm just going to call her Shala. Sorry, Chrono Trigger fans, if I've gotten that wrong. But she has a main theme, but her world actually works with kind of shifting harmonies. Some of the world, like the primitive world before they see that ancient tribe. I can't remember the girl's name, the ancient girl's name. That's before they time travel, like when they're in this kind of forest, it's this non-functional experimental harmony. So when you're composing for a world or an idea, then yes, you can be a little bit more experimental. But with a hero, with some character, and we're talking about heroes, but characters in general, they need something concrete. So you can link that piece of the score to that person. So we'll probably talk about, of course, Superman and Luke Skywalker and He-Man and all of that if we need clarification. But I did want to make that distinction. I think film composers and game composers can be a little bit more experimental when they work with worlds and ideas. But for characters, I think you kind of want it locked in place to have the viewer, have the gamer have that connection, have that real concrete connection to that person. So anyway, we just talked about structure. Let's talk about melody. So melody falls in line with the structure, as I had said before. With melody, for the hero, you do want predictability. You do want repetition. You want something that is easily hummable or easily singable. You want to just draw it out of your pre-conscious or conscious. It's called pre-conscious or subconscious. I think pre-conscious is the layer that if someone were to ask you, what did you have for breakfast? You could just pull it right out. I was like, oh, I had bacon and eggs, But where was I going with this? The melody. Yeah, you want something that you could just pull up instantly, thinking, yeah, that's the melody. I'm going to start singing it right now, driving to work or something like that. And the melody it can vary as far as the contour, as far as the melodic line, but with structure, it does have cadence. It does. The melody has phrasing and has kind of the antecedent phrase and the consequent phrase, the call and response, the question and the answer. We use those kinds of words, that kind of language when we talk about music. And it has to really fall in place. It has to align with that structure, whatever structure you've given it. And usually, I would say with characters, with heroes in particular, the structure and the melody they work in tandem. So if you have a melody, the structure with rhythm, especially with harmony, bass, and then ultimately the instrumentation, and then at last the orchestration. That comes in after you have something rooted like a melody. Now with melody, it can vary. So if your character is stoic, for instance, let's say your hero is good and pursues good, but kind of has a stoic nature about them. Well, you can musically depict that. For instance, you can use very small intervallic relationships, using notes and stepwise motion, notes that aren't really that far apart. And of course, you can have the traditional sol do, to 5 to 1, like that. But maybe nothing that exceeds that interval. Maybe nothing that exceeds a fourth or a fifth. Now, to make it a little more interesting, I'd probably range it at least up to the octave. That way, you can work with chromatics or just keys of the diatonic scale and all of that. But for someone who's stoic, maybe something that is easily remembered, but doesn't really move that far. Now, Superman, however, you want sweeping motion, you want anticipation. And so intervallic relationships would be wider. You would move a lot with a lot more of that vertical nature with someone like Superman. And his melody does that. And I'm going to show that to you on my commentary video. It's going to be great. But Williams uses wide intervals. We have the, from G to C, bum, 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 bum. Now, again, that's sol to do, essentially. That's common among most traditionally classical, traditionally composed music, in the classical setting. But, he goes, bum, 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 bum. So in a very short instance, Williams takes you through an octave from the low G to the C, that tonic, to the higher G, which is the octave from the pickup. That's huge. That's a big jump, going from 5 to 1 to 5 above 1. And then what makes his melody swell is that you go from C to B. I believe this is in the key of C. If not, I apologize. I'm just hearing it in C. And after that first 4-bar phrase, it's ba 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 dum. Well, that's actually a seventh, not just a seventh. That's a major seventh. That is the largest interval you can go until you get to the octave from C to C. And so with a character like Superman, who actually is literally vertical, he flies high, he flies fast, he's a very dynamic character. Well, you're going to want to express that in a musical line, in a musical contour. So if you're writing for a character, writing a melody for a character, consider who that person is, especially for the hero. And I'll listen to Batman 66, but I'll find something for Batman. But anyway, so that's the idea for melody. Now, harmony, and I think this is where my academic friends, my more academic friends in music would probably disagree with me on, and that is harmony for a hero. You're really gonna want to just stick with the traditional. So, for instance, Superman does not go beyond the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. Now, Williams makes it interesting with his orchestra, and he makes it interesting with some non-chord tones, notes that don't belong to a chord, and he uses a little bit of dissonance and open chords, and he uses the C7 chord, I believe, which is, it could be that jazz chord or something the French composers worked with in the 1890s into the 1900s and stuff like that. So, Williams, of course, made it very interesting, but for a character who is just so rooted in a very, very specific nature, you need something literally rooted in music. So rooted is, I got my solid tonic, which is the 1 chord. The 1 chord is the strongest chord. Then you've got your dominant, which is the second strongest chord. Then you've got your subdominant, the 1, the 5, the 4. 1 being the strongest, 5 being the second strongest, wanting to lead to 1, and then the 4 chord, the subdominant. So harmony. Now, it's not to say you can't go beyond that with your hero theme and all of that, but I would say that's some place to start. Some place to start. I was thinking, like, over the weekend, I was just thinking about Batman, and I was for Batman. If I were to compose a theme for Batman, I would actually, and I will do a video on this because I think this is really important. I would definitely go into the chord progression, the harmony for Batman, definitely minor. So Superman is major, do mi sol mi do, and then Batman would be do me sol me do. He would be the relative minor of Superman. He'd probably be A minor, which is great because you could do a lot of cool stuff with A minor on the organ, and for Batman, his harmony would be a little bit more dense, more chromatically dense, and you can do that a little bit more with minor anyway. And it would fall under more of that Baroque era, which would include like a flat 2 chord, the Picardy third, that Baroque era. Why Baroque? Well, he's in Gotham. That's his setting. Baroque, you think of Toccata and Fugue, what we saw with Fantasia, that Baroque element for his city that is Gotham. And I feel like I'm expounding too much because I really do want to put this in a video. But that's what I would do as far as harmony for Batman. So maybe a little bit more, I would say a little denser harmony than Superman. Not that he's a more complicated character, but it's got that darker tone for his setting as well. You want to also, that's the thing, is you want to consider for the hero's theme, you want to consider the setting they're in, So you got Metropolis and blue skies, and it's not always blue skies with Superman, of course. Like there are dark moments too, but he's not a dark character. but he's he's at this high altitude. He flies fast. You see his red cape, so you think that major, you think that 1 5 4 1 chord, and then with Batman, it'd probably be a little bit, I would say, more chromatically rich in nature because of just kind of the complexities of his setting. So with harmony, He-Man, He-Man doesn't really stray from the 1 4 5 chord. He does the theme, and I'll get to this in my fixed commentary video. He does Shuki Levy, I think, an Israeli American composer, that wrote for He-Man, at least the main He-Man theme, but I think he did the whole soundtrack. He worked with pretty interesting chromatic harmonic motion as well, but he really just does not move very far from A minor to C major, and it's really good. But more on that with the fixed harmony. Sorry, more on that with the video, the commentary video, because that's coming up too. So harmony, I would say, for composers out there writing for characters, whether they write for characters that are games, heroes for a game, or heroes for a film, or like a moving storyboard rendition of a comic, a new comic. If you're writing music for that, I would stick with traditional harmony. You need it. Especially, again, I have to stress, especially it's if the character is just rooted in nature, that they have this wonderful constant to their character. The integrity. Let's say integrity. Even if your hero makes mistakes, like they do everything to uphold their integrity, or the integrity of a situation or idea. Well, that can be conveyed with traditional functional harmony, like the 1 4 5 1 chord. And Williams made it interesting, so you can too. Maybe, but Williams was a genius. So don't be too boring. So that's harmony. And what is next? I would say rhythm. All right, so rhythm is pretty important too. Williams, it's great that, Superman 78 is so close to Star Wars. There's a pretty, you can make a comparison between that Superman theme and Luke Skywalker's theme, rhythmically speaking, and they do a lot of the dotted rhythm. Well, let's see. Actually, maybe it's Superman, maybe not so much, but it has that dotted rhythm feel. I'm gonna have to look at the score again. You've got the triplet into this 12/8 meter. Okay, so it's technically not a dotted rhythm, but if it was in the straight 4/4, it'd be 1 a 2 bum bum ba bum, but it's in 12/8. At least the transcription that I bought was in 12/8. So we'll have to do 12/8. But it's got that feel. It's got that feeling of the dotted rhythm. Bum ba bum ba 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 bum ba bum ba 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 ba. And with the Luke Skywalker theme, I can't hum the Luke Skywalker. I'm thinking of that trumpet. Bum bum triplet dum bum. Oh, there's no dotted rhythm. I'm trying to think of a well, I think dotted rhythm when I think, military or regal or something like that. But right now I can't think of dotted rhythm. Anyway, the the point of what I'm trying to make is actually something that is very to the beat, with just a lot of pulse and something march like, and then working in the subdivisions between the beat. 1 a 2 ba 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 da bum 2 3 4 da da dun da dum da 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 dum 2 3 4. So you're working really with the beat. He-Man is a little bit different. But I'm not gonna talk about too much. You're gonna have to watch the video. Because I want to say everything, but no, you're gonna watch the video. But He-Man is a little bit different. The treatment the rhythm there is a little bit different. But dotted rhythm, 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and something stately, something regal, something that expresses military or order, or a sense of purpose, a sense of going forward. That kind of rhythm, that stately rhythm, is important for something like a hero. Now, with Superman, if the transcription I bought was accurate, and that's what Williams composed in, it might be true that Williams composed in 12/8 meter. So 12/8, what that meter is, it's grouped in 4, but rather than 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, which is divisible by 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, 12/8 is in groups of 3. So it's 4 groups of 3 subdivisions equidistant of each other inside that beat. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 3 2 3 4 2 3. That was a bit of a tongue twister. I'm so much better with my students when I count out loud. But so that those groups of 3 gives it a jovial feel, like a dance. So every time you hear 6/8, 6/8 is very common in something like an Irish jig. The first thing I think of is Irish washerwoman, but come on, I could think of come March. I'll try to do a live show of Irish jigs, because I have a book of Irish jigs and reels and stuff like that. Well, reels are, I think, more in cut time, but Irish jigs are more in that kind of nice nice dance-like meter. So anything with 6/8, 9/8, 3/8, 12/8 is a more joyful, feeling of dance. We use that meter for dance. You could do it with something slow and something somber, but it is used for that kind of that dance joyous occasion. And that's actually the meter, at least in the transcription that I bought, that is that meter for Superman's melody. And that makes total sense. He-Man is a straight 4. He-Man is a straight 4. So that's rhythm. So something working within the beat, again, with structure, and it should have phrasing, it should have a bit of predictability with a little bit more drive. What makes Superman's music pretty spectacular is there is a sense of beat, there is a sense of forward drive, but Williams actually sometimes he pulls out a note from a strong beat. So it's a beat of rest. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, let's see if I can count this right. I want to pull up the score now. He does it in triplet. Triplet, triplet, da 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 da. Then he does kind of like this kind of really rapid back and forth between that and maybe a snare or a bass or something like that. Triplet, triplet, triplet. Oh wait, no, triplet, triplet. I should do 1 2 3 2 2 3, and I'm pulling the sound out on beat 3, and so leaving a little bit of silence, especially on a strong beat, actually can really, it almost sounds counterintuitive, but it actually can pull you faster. It can ramp up into something more. You're kind of swelling with anticipation when the rhythm is going, just this constant back and forth, but it's not so boring where every beat, every subdivision of the beat has sound. No, pull some of that out, add some rests. You're gonna see this better with the score and all that, but yeah, that's rhythm. So if you had any questions about rhythm, that is definitely important there. If you want to ask me, again, I'm a professional composer and a musician, so I humbly accept your questions. And lastly, bass. Now, for a bass line or bass in general, remember what bass is. Remember what bass functions as, and that is the ground energy. Now, with Superman, you're in the tonic. It's like a pedal tone. So if you're in the key of C with Superman's theme, you're in the key of C you're in C. You're just C. And then you can vary the rhythm. You can add it. You can make it more exciting. with just that one note. But I think it's so fitting, that transcription that I have, that I made out of this software, you'll see on the video. It's just a row of C's in different rhythm, and inside the 12/8 meter. And that is perfect. If you have a pedal tone in the tonic, on the one chord. So C is the tonic, it's the one chord in the key of C major. It is the strongest note. C is the strongest note in the key of C. If you have that, just kind of a line just going with this really interesting rhythm, well, what's happening? What is that conveying? It's conveying that Superman is grounded in his character. He's grounded in his nature. It just can't get stronger than that musically. And so that's perfect, staying in the one for a long time. But if you want to add, more of the bass line, I recommend a couple things. I recommend a bass ostinato. So something that might repeat after 2 bars or after 4 bars. But that constantly repeats. So it's the floor energy. It's that ground energy that just doesn't fluctuate. You don't want fluctuation with the bass. You do not want to be experimental with the bass when composing a hero theme. The bass, like the actual nature of the instrument and the nature of the sound and the science of the sound, of that low energy, that's ground energy. You want it grounded. And because you want to convey that for that character, for the hero. So, work with the different notes in the diatonic scale, but don't go so experimental. If like a bass that kind of sounds haphazard or a little bit of circus, it's kind of like a clownish type or quirky type. Well, who would that be for? That would be for the Joker, Mark Hamill's Joker. So a villain can have kind of a jarring, kind of quirky bass line, but you want for your hero to have something that is solid, functionally, harmonically speaking, solid. The bass that supports the harmony, that supports the melody. And I always go for, the root position or the root of that chord. So if you go from a 1 chord in C to a 4 chord in F, well, start with C and then bring it down to F. Start with C and change it to minor maybe, and bring it down to bring it down, or maybe bring it up to D minor. Now, I could just hear the college academics say, wait a second, you can't just use the root position for your bass line. Of course not. There are first inversions, there are second inversions, there are third inversions, and you should use those. And you should use suspensions. But it should be solid. It should have structure. It should have that skeletal structure for your harmonic muscles and sinew and all of that good stuff. So I think I have everything that I said for the hero theme. So the ingredients are structure, structure, melody, harmony, bass, and rhythm. And I think, bass and rhythm work really well, pairing the two, making sure that they complement, and melody too. Rhythm, of course, is used for all of it, bass, harmony, and melody. But I've noticed with bass in particular, when you have the bass and the rhythm just pair up so well, there really is nothing like it. So those are the ingredients for how to compose a good hero theme. If you want examples, I'll give them to you, but I don't want to talk too much about that because I put them in these videos. And actually, after the stream tonight, I have to edit some more of those videos. So let's check the chat. Hopefully you like that. So I don't know, is this how Wolf 10 says hello, or is it just because it's Halloween, or is it because he's in werewolf mode and he's mad about something? Oh, right. Wolfton, I haven't seen Spider-Man yet. So here's the thing, I'm like I'm watching well, I won't be watching any movies for the next few weeks, but I've been watching a movie a week. So I haven't gotten to Spider-Man. I've seen, is it Tobey Maguire? I've seen those Spider-Man films, but a long time ago. So I don't remember the music. Back to the drawing board says, I walk in and I'm told to start with 8 bars. Hold on now. It's not the weekend. Let's take it easy on the booze. Maybe start with 2. Well, who said you had to drink in those bars? Maybe you just want buffalo wings. Phrasing. We have forgotten the cardinal importance of the phrase. Okay, there's a reference. There's a reference I don't know. I know there's something I don't know. Professor says, "Quick, Big Al presents Come Fly My Cape." Self-flying cape. I sell you for a very small price. and then Professor says, "Back to the drawing board, or just a better sidekick who pays attention when he's summoned." Come on, Al, answer. Oh, there he is. Back to the drawing board says, Sound Engraver, preach. Chrono Trigger soundtrack is the greatest. I've never played the game, but I love the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack. I'm thinking of Shaw's theme right now. But actually, I'm kind of thinking about Superman's theme right now. Professor Geek says, how does the structure you're talking about contribute to the mood evoked? What is the proper mood of a hero theme? Yeah, that it depends on the hero and the environment. So for someone like Superman, Williams was spot on with Superman. You don't want something too long. So, okay, I think it was the Tchaikovsky Symphony number 4 when the strings enter the main melody of the first movement. And I think the melody is like 28 bars. That's too long for a hero theme. It's a beautiful melody for Tchaikovsky Symphony. It's a wonderful melody, but that is too long. That is too long. And something like 8 bars, or even shorter than 8 bars, like 4 bars. But for Superman, 8 bars is fine. He-Man is also 8 bars. I'll have to think about the others. I can't count right now. But something that gives you a great sense of wonder and anticipation. You need something fast. You need something with momentum. So you need to work with a shorter amount of time. You also need a lot of activity in a shorter amount of time. So when I sing ba 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 bum ba bum 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 ba da bum, that's 2 bars. Isn't that amazing? That's just 2 bars. It's just 2 measures. But it has so much activity already. And it's a lot of sweeping motion and all of that. So the mood to be evoked, of course, will have to depend on the character. Now, I don't picture Superman's theme for someone like Batman. It's a different world with a character who is virtuous, of course, like Superman, but he does live in a darker environment, and he has that sense of justice as Superman has, but it's a much different setting. With Batman, I actually think he could go longer than 8 bars for his theme. And that's because really of how Baroque works as far as Baroque harmony, functional harmony. Of course, it could be 8 bars, it could be 4 bars. But I actually picture a little bit more a little darker, a little denser for him. Even though there's justice and hope and all of that, but gosh, I'm gonna have to listen to Shirley Walker's score again because she may have made a theme for him, and I'm just not remembering it. But yeah, I hope that answered your question. Let me bring that up again and see if I've answered. So structure, what are you talking about? How does the structure you're talking about contribute to the mood evoked? The shorter the theme, no, let me say that again. The shorter the structure, the more condensed the structure. 2 bars, 4 bars, it could be 3 bars, it could be 5 bars, whatever. But the shorter it is and the more active it is, the more momentum it generates, the more anticipation it generates. If you have something 16 bars long and something that is a little bit more ambient, where the melody is pulled out and stretched out a little bit more, you're going to evoke. You could evoke a number of things, but I immediately think of something melancholy. I think of something that could be akin to tragedy. I can think of something that maybe it might be more contemplative, maybe something out of a romance, maybe something that is a little bit more intimate than what we would see with of course Superman flying around and saving people. You think of something fast. You think of something with time compressed when you think of Superman. So for a melancholy romance, sure, I think a theme could extend 16 bars. I just started thinking of Schindler's List, the main melody. And I don't know how long it is, but it's quite long, and it needs to be long. It needs to draw out that yearning and that pain of the story. So structure, the shorter the theme, or the shorter the like the shorter the sentence structure, with writing, you get this sense that things are moving quickly. If short sentences are written in a good way, it builds that momentum. It's the same way musically, pulled out, drawn out. That's something for something that is contemplative, something that is more of that contemporary fiction, where it's real life events, and it's musing and thinking and reflecting and different things like that. That's a very interesting name. Longest running superhero RPG on Earth. Does that have anything to do with those competitions? Like those walkthroughs or run-throughs, like where you go through a game as fast as you can? I cannot believe. Now, I used to play video games as a kid. I just can't believe that's an actual tournament event. We're like, no, you got to make this. It's like, I would have so much pressure. That would be so much pressure on me. But welcome, and good evening, Adega Outlaw. I know you're a fan of Troy's, and Troy is a fan of you, and I think you published a book. But welcome. And back to the drawing board is saying welcome. Daniel Heron. Oh, fits. We're going to talk about perfect fits. You say, back in the day, I took Irish step dancing. Yes. That's cool. Were you good at it? Irish is good. Irish, musically speaking, music on the page, it looks easy for a professional. Irish fiddling is its own animal. It's a very tough animal to tame. But that's for another time. Perfect fits. You Daniel asked about perfect fits, and actually, what was the context? All the way up. How important is the perfect fit in developing hero themes? Well, man, let me tell you. Perfect fits are awesome. I could see the academics now saying they're so boring, they're so consonant. No, that's not true. John Adams, you know, a lot of those great contemporary composers, they worked with perfect fifths too. Perfect fifths are important. So perfect fifths are they are an open chord. They are you know, seven, is that one, two, three, four, five, six, yeah, seven half steps, seven semitones apart. They are open. They're actually the they are, yeah, they're they're they sorry, I'm confusing my music theory right now. I gotta start over. Okay, so perfect for fifths, they are open chords. They are open chords. So when you think of church bells, now church bells have that kind of huge, rich inharmonicity where they have all those overtones happening. But you know, think of bell sounds that have you know, between a C and a G, you know, or a D and an A. Perfect fifths are very good with the environment that is open, but not just open. I would say even primitive. There's something primitive about the perfect fifth. There's something that just kind of calls us. It just naturally calls us. And I'm sorry, I can't sing two notes at the same time, and we don't have any way to show this on audio. But you know, if if I have to one day, I'll do an example. But you know, go to the keyboard. I mean, of course, Daniel, you have the piano, so if you go to the C and G, there you go. It's especially at the low end of the piano. So a perfect fifth on the low end of the orchestra, or at the low end of the orchestra. There's just something that calls you to wonder. You know, this just sense of wonder and adventure. And in fact, I just talked with this student Saturday. It was really funny. We had a funny exchange. I was showing her perfect fifths on the piano, and then I did a beautiful little, just kind of a little example that the book showed me, and it was called Rainforest. I was like, oh, that's really pretty. That's a really pretty piece. And I was telling, as I was playing, you know, F to C to D to A, it was just a beautiful open chord. On the piano, I was thinking these are perfect fifths. You know, when you think of perfect fifths, you think of things like Lord of the Rings. You know, that kind of country, rural, not rural, but you know, that open sound of Lord of the Rings. And then I looked at her. I said, "Oh, maybe you're too young for Lord of the Rings. Are you too young for Lord of the Rings? Have you read them? You're probably too young for Lord of the Rings." And she looks at me, and you know, because they have the mask on, so I can only see her eyes. And she says, "I'm too young for nothing." just, just, I just died. She's like, my dad had watched Deadpool with me, and like she's in sixth grade. It's like, okay, well, I won't make that assumption anymore. But yeah, open fits, perfect fits. Think of Lord of the Rings. Think of something Celtic. It doesn't have to be Celtic. It doesn't have to be regional to Northern Europe. It could be something else. But yeah, perfect fits are very important, especially if you're developing a game for something like high fantasy or that kind of medieval sword and sorcery. You're definitely going to want to use perfect fourths and perfect fifths. And of course, octaves. Perfect octaves. You don't really technically call them perfect octaves. At least I don't. Yeah. I'm gonna I need new headphones soon. All right. So I should start, you know, if I'm going down the chat, I should start thinking of a hero theme. Professor Geek says, this is brilliant. It matches up perfectly with story qualifications for a hero. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? There are parallels. Not only are there parallels, there are truths. Or truths. there are truths. I hate to use that dangerous word, absolute. Oh, I need to call you. Hello. Okay, I won't say who you are publicly. Oh, that's so awesome. I might even cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry publicly. First Juliet, now you. Wow. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. And of course, okay, so this, I will say this lady here is my superhero, even though she doesn't know it. She is my #1 role model for being a godly woman. And I'll go as far as that because it is public and I don't want to reveal who you are. But I can't believe you're watching. Yeah. Okay, guys, you had better behave. Now, of course, you behave on my channel. But I have a wonderful God-fearing woman watching now. And I'm a God-fearing woman too. But we're talking about God-fearing to the nth degree. Now you guys are great on this channel. So I do appreciate that. But that's awesome. So if you think of Mama Sound Engraver, think of the next tier. And there you have it. Oh, that's well, that's how you sign off. Okay, I thought my not knowing the Spider-Man theme made you want to exit. I'm sorry. I will know the Spider-Man theme. I'm gonna do a hero theme series, guys. So Superman's gonna be first. He-Man's gonna be second. Probably Captain America is gonna be third. Of course, Luke Skywalker will be happening. I did see Iron Man 2 weeks ago. I did see Thor last night, and I love Thor. Can't really remember his theme right now, but I'll remember it. I'll probably watch the older Spider-Man films before. Who's the actor's name who does the Spider-Man now? I can't remember. Tom something. But you guys, you have to be patient with me, guys, because ever since I got involved with the Professor Geek community, this was March, right? Okay, so before March, before 2020, I watched 0 movies. And then in 2020, with our collaborations, I've been watching like movies once a week. This is a totally new thing for me. Indiana Jones theme is up there with Superman. Feeling heroic. Well, it's written by the same guy, too. I'm going to see if longest running superhero RPG on Earth says, I was going to ask what you do for Spider-Man since he has heroic moments, but also funny moments too. And I will definitely get to him as well. And when I talk about themes, I really want to talk about iconic themes for these characters. So, going back to Batman, this is a real interesting case because, Danny Elfman's score is a good score. And I think it depicts Batman's character just wonderfully. But it's not a theme. I know. I feel so bad saying that. Sorry, Mr. Elfman, if you're watching, you did a phenomenal job. You did a phenomenal job with that Batman '89 score. And Hans Zimmer, man, you're a good composer. You are a good composer, but you are an ambient composer. I just have to say that. Besides Lion King, now I have not listened to all of Hans Zimmer's scores, all his scores. I've listened to Interstellar, um, a little bit of Inception. I haven't seen the movie though. I can't. I don't have any opinion on that one. But besides Lion King, I mean, Batman for the Nolan series, I like the music. I like his music. I like his music a lot, but it's not thematic. It's not thematic. I actually really did enjoy. I know some people have their opinions on the Nolan films. I do enjoy Batman Begins. I do enjoy Batman Begins. I'm sure it has faults because I just don't know the Batman lore as a lot of you do. But yeah, I like the music, but there's no theme. Okay, so this is what Hans Zimmer. Yeah, he's not watching, so it's okay. This is Hans Zimmer's Batman. Even for Batman Begins, I can't remember the music for the other films, but this is his theme for Batman. Da 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 da. Now, of course, he makes it interesting with some chords and some ostinatos and some heavy French horn just blaring in, but that's all that is for Nolan's Batman for the theme. So no, that's not a theme. That's ambience. Well, it's not ambience like the way we use the word ambient in terms of genre and feel, and it's atmospheric. Yeah, it's atmospheric. Sorry, Mr. Zimmer. You're a swell guy and you're a great composer, but you need to write themes. I mean, Lion King, the old Lion King, those are themes. Some great stuff. Great stuff. So he is capable of making themes. I just haven't heard any yet. Interstellar didn't have themes. What else? What else? And he's writing for Dune. Blade Runner 2049. I'll have to listen to it again. I can't remember it. I can't remember a melody, but I could be wrong on that one. But he wasn't the only composer. Oh man, Wolf10, you had me howling. No pun intended, man. You had me just laughing at the especially at the start of the show. So you say, but yeah, the werewolf was almost unleashed last night, going through the Jekyll and Hyde situation here. No, that was so funny. Like I think you said something. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys were talking about Jodie Whittaker and we're not about politics here. But I just, the way you said it was just, I just died. He's like, 1982, gender neutral wasn't invented back then. And it's like, I mean, it's kind of true. It's like, no, it's not, it's not a concept we thought of. We called them tomboys back then, guys. I was a tomboy. I climbed trees. I wore jeans and sneakers and yes, tomboys. Let's bring back that word, guys. Come on, let's do it. Hashtag tomboy. I mean, I really didn't play with dolls. I just like being outside all the time. And then watching Charlotte's Web. Oh, and Lister, hey, how's it going? I hope you are doing well. Back to the drawing board says, I'd love to hear you do a hero theme breakdown of Saitama from One Punch Man. Well, hold on. I know One Punch Man is a very popular character. but I'm doing Marvel and DC and Star Wars right now. That's a lot for me. Guys, I just got into the Marvel universe. I know these films were made like 10 years ago. But it'll be a while. It will be definitely a while before I get into other things. Now, as far let's see, One Punch Man is anime, isn't it? Some of you people know here that I haven't gotten into anime. I never was into anime, so I would have to I'd have to see about that. But characters I can invest in. Like I loved the Thor film I saw last night, and the first Thor, and I just saw the first Iron Man film like 2 weeks ago, and I love Iron Man, his story. I think that was great. When he's building his suit, I could totally resonate with him troubleshooting because I troubleshoot in SuperCollider. It's like, no, oh, not that. Yeah, it's like, so I could really resonate with that character. Oh, Melissa Harris says Danny Elfman, Spider-Man. Okay, Sam Raimi. So that's probably the film I would look to first before the new Spider-Man. Yeah, I would definitely at least see the first film of that. I think there are 3 films, but Danny Elfman for that. Yeah. I just realized, Hans Zimmer did do a love theme between Bruce Wayne and Rachel Dawes in Batman Begins, but that was the only theme. I think that was the only theme. And that was like a love theme. That wasn't a theme for Batman, That wasn't a theme for that actual, iconic character. And now that I think about it, I think he used that theme also for his family, for Bruce Wayne thinking about his parents as well. So it might be a familial theme. And it's pretty. It's a really pretty theme. Jason Bourne's theme song. Waylon, welcome. It's always at the end of the film. Do you know good melody for my character Beetleborgs? No, because I don't know your character. Sorry, I think I don't. I have to know the character first. Are you talking about just what a good melody would be? Did you just come here because I laid out all the ingredients for a good melody? No, I mean I would have to know the character. So I mean dun 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 bum 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 bum. I can't sing in tune right now. I love the Super Mario theme because it's on the beat, but the way they do I don't know if that's the composer. I'm sorry guys. I know it's Japanese, but I really apologize. But the way they do the triplet figure, bum dun 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 bum 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 ba dum bum 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 ba dum. It's never on the beat. But it still works within the beat. It's great. I personally like the Mario 2 theme. I could play that. Well, I could play both on the violin, but I love that. Makes me so happy. I'm looking at chat. I'm just trying to fill in with some music. I need a hero theme for Beetleborgs. Well, the first thing to establish actually is the character, which you probably have, but you have to so if you're asking me as a composer, I would have to know inherently, like not inherently, but I would have to know so well the character and story before I ever set anything to music. So, you know, if the world tasked me with composing a theme for Batman, the world would never ask me to do that because they're like, no, we've got all we need for Batman. Well, number one, I would not give them a Batman theme until they reinstated the true iconic Batman. That's the first thing. But I would feel comfortable composing a theme for Batman because I'm getting to know more his nature, not just his nature internally, but his setting, his environment, what he has to deal with on a regular basis. I, as a composer, really would have to spend my time in that world for that character. For instance, I find it so fascinating. You know who's great with themes? Howard Shore, man. Lord of the Rings. Yes. That man spent time on set. That man spent time in front of the art. He spent time with Peter Jackson and the writers. He spent time with people to get to know the world and to get to know the story. Lord of the Rings is probably a required reading for all involved, if they weren't already fans of Lord of the Rings. So Howard Shore, his score for Lord of the Rings just couldn't have been better. It couldn't have been more fitting for that trilogy. Because that man knew, first of all, what Peter Jackson wanted. And Peter knew. Peter Jackson knew what he wanted. He knew what he wanted out of those stories. And when you have such a vision and we have such intent, then the music is going to work. The Fellowship theme, the Shire theme, Gondor, Gondor's theme, the Rohirrim theme, Evenstar for, I think, is that how you say her name? Evenstar for Arwen. Just beautiful. The love theme between Arwen and Aragorn, and everything worked. The Mines of Moria. Everything in that score worked. I can't think of one single flaw in that score. That's amazing. So no, before I would ever have to compose for a character, first I would I have a composer rate card. So if you want to pay me $1,000 for a licensing fee and labor hours, yes, that's fine too. I think it's $1,000. I'd have to check. But no, I'd have to know the characters first. I'd have to know the characters first and the story. What was I singing? I was singing Mario 2. Thank you. I appreciate that, Owen. Daniel Craig says, you've given us more than enough info to figure out who she is. Oh, thank you, Freaky Beast, Tom Holland. It's Fanman. I see Fanman down there. Let's see. Sound Engraver Owen Lister says, look up Marvelous Bio Booster from the anime Guyver. That's his heroic theme. Anime. Oh, okay. I'm saying I'm gonna take his advice, Fanman's advice. Thank you for watching, Fanman. Yes, avoid the MCU far from Spider-Man films. Stick to the Raimi and the first Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, I'll do that, and I'll definitely look for a theme. And if I like it, well, not even if I like it. If it's a theme, if it's solid, I'll do an analysis on it. Daniel Craig says, "Here's the thing: you just watched Thor, and you've already can't remember the theme." Well, I mean, okay. First of all, in my defense, I've been analyzing the Superman theme and the He-Man theme in one day. So those two themes have been stuck in my head, which is great. But we can all drop the tune from the film that's over 40 years old at any time. Oh, no, no, well, Patrick Doyle, I think, was the composer for Thor, and I liked it. I do like it. It is a little bit, longer. It's not like that fanfare with that really quick rhythm in it. That's why Luke Skywalker's theme, Superman's theme, He-Man's theme, they're so memorable because they're so rhythmically engaging, whereas, Thor and, Captain America even, they have longer drawn out themes. Now, I will remember those themes when I listen to them again, and they will be memorable. I've just concentrated so much on the Superman theme. Chris P in the house. Or let's see, I was gonna say crispy, but that's the joke between the Prof and Troy and stuff like that. I won't do that to you. I'll say Chris P. Prologue, Sons of Odin, Thor, Kills the Destroyer are all standout tracks for the first Thor movie. Now again, okay, this is the thing. One thing I'm terrible at is track names. Like, oh, what about this soundtrack? This track. Like, oh, okay, that's the melody. you know. Waylon says, Winter Soldier is the best Marvel movie in my opinion. I am not there yet. I'm gonna watch the next couple Iron Man films, and then the first Adventures movie. I think that's what it's called. Disney has my money. But that's okay, because I'm doing a movie analysis. By the way, this is a side note. I know it's rumors. I've been listening to Aged Boomer and Troy and all that, and all you guys and stuff. Now, I guess these are just rumors that Henry Cavill will return as Superman or something like that. Or he's agreed to do 3 films, whatever that means. It might not even be Superman, as Troy pointed out on the study hall last night. But if that's true, if he is, I'm going to do a video of a very deep critical analysis of the Man of Steel soundtrack. I will be so gracious and I will be so polite, but I will probably title it something like What Hans Zimmer Got Wrong About Superman. Because after you watch Christopher Reeve Superman, well, I know you guys have other favorites too that are the iconic Superman, but I haven't seen them. I really want to talk about why the music of Man of Steel just does not work. Now, Fan Man will probably say, well, Hobo of Steel doesn't work anyway, and he's right. But see, this is a music channel, so I have to kind of be sneaky about it, I have to talk about the music part of it. So, anyway. You guys are making me so mischievous. It's like, I don't know. Let's see. Wolf 10 says, no, I sign off my voice in streams with my trademark howl. Trademark howl. The howl is a trademark of salutations and farewells. It's awesome. Melissa does say that it's iconic. That the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. So yeah, I'll definitely cue that in and listen. Well, I don't want to say it because it's public. But yes, that was my grandmother. Since you didn't say I will everyone, that was Michelle's sweet grandmother, and yes, she is a saint. She is a saint. She's a living saint. So that's great. Yeah. That's good. Well, thanks, Grandma, for watching. That's awesome. Yeah, I've got my family wishing me well and praying for my peace. I'm going to be singing, I'm going to be humming the Superman theme 9:35 next Monday morning. Oh my goodness. And Zimmerman's Nolan scores are uninspired as Nolan and Goyer's characterizations. Yeah, I mean, and this is what I want to say about Zimmer is that he's a good composer, but he works with ambience. This is very, very crucial to know as a film composer. Lion King really is a great score. He should have just kept doing that. Now, I do love ambience. I love atmospheric music. I love background music. I love suspense. I actually do like the Batman Begins music soundtrack. I do like the score. I do like the score a lot. But to depict a character, to define a person, especially a person who has such an establishment, who has such a history, it's very important to get concrete musically. And Zimmer does not do that. He does not do that. Now, with a film like Inception, again, I haven't seen Inception, but I understand the premise. It's got that. Does it have that metaphysical nature to it? So if that's the case, yes. If it's dealing with a metaphysical nature or maybe something contemplative, like a romance, like a contemporary romance. Yes, of course, you could be atmospheric. Interstellar is also a good film. I did see the film. I enjoyed it. It's good for ambience because the story needs that. Of course, the story has a lot of emotion between family relationships as well. So it does need something rooted, something, with the family, especially the relationship between the main character Cooper and his daughter. You need something like a theme between the two because it's a very touching, very sad, very quite sad relationship between them. But it works out in a way in the end. But between characters or an iconic character or a main character, you need something rooted, and that's where a theme comes from. This happened in opera, guys. This happened in opera in the 1700s, 1800s, into the 1900s. This is super important. You cannot have ambient music for characters. Fellowship of the Ring, okay? You can't have ambient music, even beautiful music, with something like the Fellowship. Even Lothlorien had a theme. Now, Lothlorien is a place and it's a setting that could work with ambience, and still Howard Shore still made it thematic. It's so awesome. Yeah. Guys, when are we going to do a rewatch? Because I will be so on that train for analysis. Yeah, according to Daniel Craig, I haven't been discreet with my my family. Yeah. All right. So, it's 10:30. I started at 9:00. So let's see. I'll read the comments. We'll wrap it up. We'll definitely wrap it up by 11 because I have some work to do. But just kind of go on through chat if you guys are fine with that. Owen Lister says, "I like the Rise theme from The Dark Knight Rises." I'll have to listen to it because I just can't remember. I just can't remember. I saw that movie once, I think. Fanman says, "Sound Engraver, what about Zimmerman's score for Gladiator?" Oh, what about James Horner's work? I have. Okay, Fanman, you have to know. Oh no, maybe you don't know this about me. Troy knows this about me. Al knows this about me, and the Prof knows this about me. I'm just starting to watch movies. Yes, I'm in my 30s. I just started watching movies. So I haven't seen Gladiator, but I'll definitely check it out. Um, James Horner, Goldsmith. I talked about Mulan a couple weeks ago, and so Goldsmith definitely has the chops. James Horner. I know he's done several things. Uh, the one I remember him in, and I don't know if it was a popular film when it was made, was Patriot Games. Patriot, no, yeah, Patriot Games, based on the Tom Clancy novel. Liked the movie, did not like the book. People say, "Oh, you saw the movie? Oh, the book is so much better." That's just one instance, in at least in my humble opinion, where the book was not better. I'm sorry, Tom Clancy fans, but that book made me so mad. But James Horner did Patriot Games, and I'll have to listen if he did any themes, but he really knew how to give you that fear of the terrorism that was happening in North Ireland, in that fictional setting. Now I know it's based off, I think, a real group of people, but I think the group of people there were fictitious. But he Horner, man, that was great. He made the penny whistle sound demented for the Irish terrorists. It was the way the performer used the penny whistle. It's supposed to be, jovial and dance like, but the way he used the penny whistle was just staggering and just really fluctuating and just really frenetic and really put you on edge for those. And I love the actor Sean Bean, and Harrison Ford is cool. And when you have a showdown between those two, it's the best thing in the world. I heard that Tom Clancy didn't really like that scene. I'm sorry, I loved it. I would have been proud. But every time I think of James Horner, I'm sure, of course, he did others, but yeah. See, I know what you mean by that, Troy, because I listened to your live stream last night. No dolls, action figures. Well, if My Little Pony, I actually did role play when I was little with My Little Pony. So is that action figures? They would charge, they would lead the charge or something like that. I think, gosh, I remember. I think My Little Pony was really the toys I played with. I was into more board games and with friends, and then climbing trees and croquet, and yard spring. Okay, okay. I grew up. I spent my summers in Montana, and my grandparents would have these huge pipes all over the yard that would water their acre of yard. And so all the cousins would just run through these pipes. I mean, you want to talk about sprinklers? Like we had a show with these just giant pipes and these just like, squirting water and stuff like that. We'd run around, and they were long, and they were everywhere and stuff like that. Yeah, so I was more of a outdoorsy person, more than a role play person. Oh yes, Star Trek scores. Daniel says the first Iron Man film came out in 2008. That was 12 years ago. I'm a little bit of a late bloomer when it comes to these things, guys. I don't really watch movies right when they come out. Well, that's interesting. That's cool. I had a coworker who was she was married to a very famous not married. She was the niece of a very famous athlete. Of course, I don't know sports, so I don't know who this person was. But I remember all the other project managers just kind of gushed over her, like, "Oh, did you like, okay, do you often get like, hey, can you tell them hi for me or something like that?" And she says yes. So I don't think I would want to be related to a very famous person. I think that would be a bit of a nuisance. But Horner, yeah, I understand that Horner had a pretty terrible accident that unfortunately ended his life, and I feel bad because he very very talented composer. Wolf 10 Media says, I have a Southern-ish accent, even though I was never born in the South. Mother's side of the family are from Greenwood, Mississippi, though. Okay, well, that makes sense. That makes total sense. um, I'd be curious what you'd do for the tick. Okay, so are you talking about that Netflix show that aired, wasn't it a couple years ago or 2 years ago? I don't know the character, though. I would have to know the character. Like, you talk to me about He-Man, Luke Skywalker, She-Ra. You could talk to me about She-Ra. Charlotte A. Kavatka, Dixie Kong. You could talk to me about those heroes. I love Spider-Man Homecoming. It's an amazing film. It's an amazing film, no pun intended. I even got that reference. That's interesting. I don't want to see a fight on my chat, but I feel like I feel like buttons are being pushed. I just have this feeling. Well, slow and steady, man. Slow and steady. So here are the films I have seen. My first superhero film, Superman 1978, and I loved it. Second was Batman 89, and I loved it. I didn't like that the Joker died. Spoiler alert. But I was informed that that's kind of the first. That was really the first approach to making a film, a depiction, an actual motion picture on the character. So makes sense. But that was great. Then I went to Captain America, then Iron Man, and then Thor. So I'm gonna watch probably Iron Man again. Might go back to Superman again, and I really do like. I really do love Mask of the Phantasm. The rewatch we did really set me going on the animated series, and I had seen those as a kid, the Batman animated series. I just don't remember them. I do remember that intro, but Batman is I have a soft spot for Batman. I just really love that noir look and that detective aspect of Batman, and we got to find a theme for him. So I'll go to your recommendation, Big Al, and check out 66. But we'll see. We'll see. But let's just hypothetically say Batman does not have a theme. I gotta check out Shirley Walker's soundtrack again because I could be forgetting something. But let's say he doesn't have a theme. I'll show you how to compose a Batman theme. I'll do that in a fixed commentary video because there would be some really important features to do for Batman. Daniel Craig says, they changed the Mario theme up every game too. Was just playing Mario 64. I've played Mario 64 and I've gotten all 127 stars. Now, what does not change with Mario? His theme may change, but what does not change with Mario? Well, I really haven't gone past 64, so I don't know. But what hasn't changed with him is the feel-good aspect of Mario. And what I mean by feel-good is quirky happy. That has not changed with Mario. That's stayed true to Mario's character, and that is important. Dun 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 bottom bum bottom bum bottom bum I mean, it's just fun. His music has always been fun, even if the theme has changed. It's always been fun. Oh, that's not for me. I just saw MJ and I thought it was me. Owen Lister says, yeah, I just got here. Also, Beetle Blaze is a humanoid bug man who battles other bug men known as insectinators and the underground cult known as Galvin that lives beneath Anvil. Sounds scary. Kind of has a dark vibe like Sandman. I never I know Neil Gaiman is famous and I know Sandman is a very popular story. Um, I even had a friend from college offer me a copy of Sandman, and I think he and his wife were out, and I was at their place just reading and chilling, and I was looking over the comic, and it was just too dark for me. I'm sure the story is fine, but or the story is good. I'm sure the story is good, but it looked real dark for me. But you know me. I'm Christian. I have to keep it light. I just said I have to keep it light, and you're asking me to like check out Berserk anime 1994. Now I just saw Berserk, and I've seen comics on Berserk, and no, I'm sure the story's fine, but it's just too violent for me. Okay, 10:43. We will definitely wrap it up at 11. Yeah, reinstate the true iconic Batman. We will. We will. And Big Al says Howard Shore's score for Lord of the Rings is great. Is the greatest of all time. It really, you know, from a composer's perspective, a musician's perspective, I just do not see any flaw in that score. It's just, it depicts that world so well. And then, of course, with the Shire theme, especially with the relationship between Frodo and Sam, that they always have that Shire theme kind of coming back to them, even on their journey, and it just makes it so sweet. And then, oh my goodness, is it Evenstar or Evenstar? I can't remember how to pronounce Arwen's other name. But when I think is it Renee Fleming who sings it? I think it is Renee Fleming. And there's that vision of her seeing the sun, her son, and Aragorn a little older, but as a king. You just don't get more beautiful than that. Oh, I have chills all over me now just thinking of it. I gotta think of Mario again. Gotta get back into da, 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 da. Owen Lister says, the story of Beetle Blaze is about destiny and the choices that make us. Yeah, that's a very good premise. Fanman says she's Professor Geek. She's talking about a video game series called Super Mario Brothers. I had Super Nintendo, so I had Super Mario Brothers All Stars. That was my first game as a kid, as a 9-year-old. So Super Mario Brothers, I got the Lost Levels, which has it's pretty much the same as the first Super Mario Brothers, except the levels are harder, and you can have Luigi as a character, but the same music and all of that. And one day I'll play that music for you on violin. It's just, I'm going to go on a side note. I'm going to go on a tangent. I have heard, I've been maybe not told, but I've been in the same room with people who have said C major is boring. Okay, guys, listen. You musicians who know C major, there are no sharps, there are no flats. But C major has the exact same mathematical relationships of the diatonic scale as D flat major or G flat major or F sharp major, which is and harmonically G flat, A major, all these majors. So C major is like, oh, it's kind of boring. Like Stravinsky, man, he did C major. Now, why I say this is because I play the Mario tunes in C major, and actually I think dun 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 bum that's C major anyway. But Daniel Herron, are you there to write the composer down? Because I really should know the composer, and I'm just not thinking about the name right now. I would recognize it if you wrote it down. Daniel Herron, if you're still there, write it down. Anyone, write it down. The composer for Super Mario Brothers. Anyway, but C major, what makes Mario great is borrowed chords and chromatics. Let's see if this melody. Okay, so Mario dun 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 bum 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 ba ba dum ba da dum bum bum ba 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 bum bum ba da dum bum, and then the phrase repeats, and then you go in kind of a little descent. Da 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 bum bum ba da 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 ba ba da. I mean, so it's using different tones outside the diatonic scale in C major. C major is not boring. I defy anyone who says C major is boring. I will make a C major song. So engaging. I had to go on that rant. Let's see. Yeah, Melissa Harris, Super Mario Bros. Theme song, Zelda. I was just singing the Zelda theme the other day. Now I could only think of. And I love how that starts. Da, da. It's a tritone. Ba, da, da. It's supposed to be a little bit dissonant, a little bit quirky. Yes, I am. Are you familiar with She-Ra's opening theme? I almost like it more than He-Man's. I think it was on the Facebook. Oh, maybe I didn't answer. I felt like answering Daniel Herron. I think it was on the Facebook page where I think Daniel Herron was saying the same thing. I like She-Ra's theme in that it's fanfare. It is a fanfare kind of theme. And then it goes into this quirky, it's just it's kind of quirky for her, this kind of regal, powerful woman. Now I love her theme. I like He-Man's theme just a little bit more because it's a little primitive. There's something primal. So with She-Ra, with her white dress and her red cape, and even that golden headpiece, kind of she wears like a crown. There's something stately about her. There's something just royal. But He-Man, when Prince Adam goes into He-Man, first of all, what do you hear? He-Man. It's like these men singing He-Man, right? So it's so masculine, and there's something very primal in a good way, like kind of in a human way. Like I'm ready to defend the people I love. So there's a little bit more of that in his theme. Where with She-Ra, I think she has it's fanfare, it's happy. It's the same feeling you get from He-Man saying, okay, she's in business. She's going to take care of business. We're safe. Yay, She-Ra's here to take down the hordeman troopers and stuff like that. So there's a bit of happiness to her, but with, okay, He-Man, I have to say, it goes from A minor to C major. So, okay, that's great. Then yeah, you feel good about that. I would say there's just a little bit more harmonic progression in She-Ra's theme. But I actually I do have a video on the He-Man theme, why it's just so awesome. I like both. I like He-Man's just a little bit better. I could dun, 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 ba, 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 ba. Now this is interesting. Troy brings up a really good point. I like the Iron Man theme. Tony Stark makes you feel like he's a cool exec with a heart of steel. And then Iron Man, all guns ablaze, he fights with repulsor Oh, am I supposed to sing that? Sorry. That score is a very interesting. The way they did that score, very interesting, and I'll talk about that too in a commentary video. But his is total rock, like kind of that progressive steel. I don't know if I want to say punk rock, AC/DC. It's just got a hard edge to it that sounds so contemporary for the time it was written. The time the movie was produced. But it's very interesting. I will make a side note on this, and it's already almost 11. With Iron Man, they have diegetic music, so they'll have the music play as a soundtrack, as a cinematic soundtrack that the audience hears, and then you realize it's a song out of a radio. That happens at the first scene when he's driving with the military patrol or the troop convoy, whatever that was. But that also happens when there's a lot of this kind of rock music, hard music as a soundtrack, and then you see he's working in his laboratory, listening to the music. I think I love that. I love the use. Xanadu did that, where you think there's nightclub music going on, but it actually is part of the soundtrack. It's not part of this abandoned nightclub. It's actually part of the soundtrack. We just hear it kind of like from a distance. It's really interesting. It's really interesting that they use the music diegetically like that. All right, come on, guys. So many. Oh my goodness, I have so many comments to go through. Okay, sorry, guys. I'm fine with staying on longer. It's not that I have too much to do, but I'll definitely try to get through the comments as much as I can. Troy Pacelli says, we'll have to do multiple rewatches of Lord of the Rings, one for the music, one for the story, and one for the humorous hot takes. Are you talking about the appendices? Oh no. See, the thing is, Lord of the Rings, those rewatches, they'll be so long that they're oh, man, that is true though. I feel like, guys, I would try to jump in on you guys be talking. Okay. We're gonna establish a condition right now. Okay. For the Lord of the Rings rewatches. We are not, I repeat. Now I know this is the professor's channel, so he can do whatever he wants with this channel, but I want to make a condition right now. We are not going to talk about other movies when we're talking about Lord of the Rings, okay? We need all that time to talk about the production, the story, the characters, and the music. We have to just only talk about Lord of the Rings. If I'm going to be like the referee, okay? I know that's not even my channel, but if I hear Al or Troy talking about Star Trek for Lord of the Rings, I will pounce. I will say, guys, let's get back to business because there's just so much. There's so much in Lord of the Rings. So yeah. Condition established. Okay, guys, that's it's public now. It's recorded. Is that okay? Waylon, actually, I wish I said there are some movies that I have seen that are rare, but no, I haven't seen this film. Very memorable, simple, but very effective. I'd have to also see the premise, just to make sure it's good. I tend to avoid the rated R stuff. In fact, I probably do avoid rated R now that I think about it. Daniel King says, James Horner is probably known most for his popular composer Star Trek films. Goldsmith has the most popular with the motion picture TNG theme. Yeah. Fanman says, I know you're not a fan of horror, but the scores of music John Carpenter are amazing. And actually, yeah, Big Al and Troy were talking about that when they were reviewing, was it Big Trouble in Little China? I think that's what they were talking about. And I didn't even know he did his own music. That's pretty cool. So I will definitely check that out. But I'm not going to do any horror. I mean, even listening to horror music. Actually, some ambient scary movie music is actually really good sound design. I don't mind listening to horror soundtracks if I don't know the story, if I don't know the context, because some of that sound work is very, very lovely. But nothing scary, nothing remotely scary until I come back on October 7th, 10 p.m. or October 8th. You will love Horner's score of Braveheart when you get to it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, and Titanic. Yeah. That is true. That is true. And Wolfton says that's what I love about Mario. That it's fun. Yeah. And then Melissa is endorsing Batman 66. And then Wolf10 says, I love it when you gleefully humming to the tune that you love. Yeah. I'll sing or hum anything that I like. No, I never saw the TV or movie renditions of Mario. Oh, and I've only seen the game. Just the song, not the anime. Okay, maybe. Maybe. Back to the drawing board. Thank you, Even Star. Even Star. Yeah, that's some pretty stuff. Welcome, Cheryl. Is that a recommendation? Owen Lister says, write a superhero theme that's only in C major. Well, I will for a price. I'll tell you. Do I have... Okay, guys, I don't think I have this. Do I have my... I think I must have deleted it. Yeah, I must have deleted. I had a composer. Oh, nope. Never mind. That was different. I had a composer rate card. I would, if someone were to ask me to write a piece of music for something, I would charge them. It's just the nature of things now. But now if I did Batman, it would be not C major, but A minor. She-Ra's theme is greater than He-Man's theme. Why can't it be both? Sound Engraver, I think why people love my comedy in streams is because 100% of the time, I'm merely voicing what people have been thinking for a very long time. Well, I mean, I didn't consider it. I didn't hear anger. I don't think. I thought it was great. All right, Owen, let's just head out, and it's 11 o'clock. All right, Prof says it, and it's his channel too. So sorry, my hair's really stringy today. It's kind of all on my face and stuff. He says, referee these scatterbrains. I like at any second. I will be so quick. Now, trivia for Lord of the Rings, like behind the scenes stuff for Lord of the Rings, that's fun. That's great stuff. They have the appendices and all of that background information. That's good stuff. But if I hear just even a smidge of just deviating into another franchise, Guys, I don't even care if it's Star Wars, okay? Like, I love Star Wars, but let's keep Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings. I feel so strongly about this. Rashad Harris, nice to meet you. Hi. How do you feel about remote orchestral sessions? Have you used them? Because I want to one day get my music professionally recorded. Oh, are you talking about composing and commissioning for an orchestra? Because remote work is pretty common. I would say you probably, this might sound a little much, but you would probably have to consult with a studio. Now you can consult with a local studio. Um, but I've never done it. Now here's the thing, Rashad, I actually I'm a violinist. I'm classically trained. I've had experience in the orchestra, so I have a good sense of orchestration and history of classical music and all that good stuff. But I don't compose for orchestra. I actually do work in electronic music, and it is a different animal. But I do have a voice in orchestra music. But I would say if you have a local studio or a studio a couple hours away that works with that kind. Of course, it's a little hard now with everything being mostly closed down. But remote orchestral, I mean, I actually, as far as a studio production is concerned, working remotely is quite common. You'll have sound designers and sound engineers in on one side of the country while there's an orchestra recording on another side of the country. That's quite common. In fact, actually, that's probably the most feasible thing to do. But yeah, getting your music recorded for that. Are you a student or because I haven't, I've composed for acoustic music, but I haven't consulted with a professional orchestra. Are you trying to make this be a man? Let's get back to business to watch the film. Peter Jackson's epic. Peter Jackson's epic deserves attention. Yeah, like attention, I know, but I try to make it rhyme and have it rhythmically accurate. Sound engraver laying down the law. Mama's not the law. Sound engraver is the law. I'll sing or have anything I like. And of course you can. It's your show. Yes. Okay, I've never seen that word, blaxploitation. I hope I said something non-offensive. Jazz funk is great. You know, cop show, spy tunes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Also, those are good genres for games, you know, and independent game developers as well. And the thing is, you can get a digital audio workstation like Logic Pro or Digital Performer or Pro Tools. Pro Tools is the other one. Ableton as well. And well, I don't know about Ableton as far as libraries are concerned, but you can get, they're fairly expensive libraries, but pretty convincing libraries where you can score all on tracks, all on a digital audio workstation on an interface. Now, as far as mixing and mastering, if you've never done mixing and mastering, I hire, or not hire, I pay. I pay for my music to get mastered because I don't have any experience doing mastering engineering. I mix some of my stuff, but I'm used to that as an electronic artist. But if movies are or shows aren't doing anything much these days, you know who really is doing a lot of stuff, and that is probably game developers. Fanman says he writes, directs, and composes and performs. Oh, who's okay? So Wagner was the forefather of that image. Gesamtwerk, which is the person who does everything, and also does original music, not for films. Yeah, wow. Oh, Rashad, I'm a composer. I'm 20-year I am 20-year-old aspiring composer in college, so I'm still learning. I also work with DAWs as my primary tool. So yeah, and that's a really good place to start. That's a really good place to start. Now, I don't know if you're in the States, but like places like England, they're a little bit better about teaching you how to compose music for other things outside the academics. In the States, in the universities, unless you're actually in a film school score kind of setting, like you're in a film, uh, if you're in a program that actually specifies in composing for film. If you're in a university, if you're a composition student, chances are you're I could be wrong, could have changed. I don't think so. They're teaching you how to write for the concert hall. They're teaching you how to be a professor. They're teaching you how to be a composer in residence, and that's cool if that's what you want to do. But as far as being active as a composer, um, the university, at least in the United States, does not teach you how to do that. You actually have to be in a specific department. I think University of Texas, I think, has a film not film department. All universities have that, but a very specific course for film music or commercial music. The sad truth is, though, I might do a stream on this later when I get more information, but the sad truth is, because of the technology now, which I love the technology, but people are just producing libraries. And what composers are doing now is they're selling their music for a rate to be put in a library so someone can buy the license to that. Now, for some people that might be cool, but what tends to happen is that you ever see business commercials that just have the same generic music? Well, it's because they use a library. They have a license to use a library. Oh, that sounds great. Well, most people, most businesses, unless they have a musician or a composer to talk with, they don't really know music, how music functions. So like, oh, that sounds great. I saw what did I see? Oh my goodness, I saw um, it was like a fashion designer. She did this commercial for a business, and the music she chose was like I should be reading to 4-year-olds. It was nothing like it should be for her fashion, and that's what libraries do. So I think that unfortunately the road we're taking is that composers are just selling their music to these companies who develop these huge extensive libraries, and then I don't think they get royalties. Maybe there's a deal where they get royalties, but it's like, oh no, here's something for you for, well, $1,000. Okay, that's fine. But let's say you compose a piece of music, you sell it for $1,000. It's like a minute worth of music for $1,000. You might think that's a great deal until something happens where that is like shown on every radio station and every commercial. Well, that $1,000 just looks like a little drop in the bucket. But there's no way you can claim that that's yours because you had given your music over to that library for that license, that for those rights, for really those rights. So sorry, I went on a tangent, guys. That's not with every case. For me, I just like composing music for making albums and stuff like that. And I've made, let's see, I don't know, $50 so far this year. Yeah, see, I'd still do if I didn't even make any money. Because I love it so much. But anyway, we're wrapping it up here. So I'll let. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Composing music for the hit releases of Super Mario Brothers. Awesome. Thank you for that. Love it. Love that you said that. All right. Yeah, I bet. If you're talking about licensing and libraries and stuff like that, the problem is these businesses, they sound the same. They sound the same. And sometimes the music isn't good, sometimes it's mediocre, or sometimes it's it just doesn't work. Like it's like if you write like real dramatic cinematic music for, like a children's second grade education. I mean, I have seen this. I'm like, are you serious? Yeah. So people, yeah, when they buy libraries, they may have 50,000 things to choose from. But who's going to go through all of that? And who's going to take the time to do all that? No one. They'll just like pick number 31. Okay, put it to the video editor. Okay, we're done. And that's why the commercials you hear sound really, really generic. Anyway, I should stop. Let's talk about plugging some things. Okay, so on the Facebook page, Troy put it. Excuse me. Troy put up this awesome looking calendar. It was the professor's channel guide. It's like a TV guide, okay? That's awesome. It was great. And it had just this list of all these events happening, We've got several channels doing their own thing now. So, you've got me Monday nights. For the next 2 Mondays, I will be gone. I hope to come back. For the next 2 nights, I'll be gone, but I will give you some commentary videos to fill up the space. And I think, Troy, go ahead and say what you were doing for the Monday, the 28th, because since I'm going to be gone, I think you were working on something for a live presentation. But in any case, for the next 2 Mondays, I will be gone, but it's always Monday nights, 9:30 Eastern time. And of course, sound experimentation and composition every Thursday. So watch out for that. Thank you for being very supportive of my faith-based song that I posted yesterday. I really do appreciate those comments. Really, really do. We've got, of course, the Professor Geek channel, who started it all, pretty much, this community. This is really, the community came from him. And he's got his Universal Monsters rewatch for tomorrow at 10 p.m. with a 9 p.m. pre-show, probably, maybe Q&A, maybe something. But definitely 10 p.m. for the rewatch. We also have his book study, Dune, on 10 p.m. as well, Thursdays, and maybe a pre-show then. We also have rewatches on Saturday nights between Big Al Presents, Troy Pacelli, and Netter's Network. We've also got Fan Man. Actually, Fan Man, if you're still on board, do clarify if we're still doing the Second Cup Cafe. I've been enjoying those. I teach Tuesday mornings, and sometimes I miss the Tuesdays, but I listen to it again. But I am there for the Thursday mornings. It's great to see you those mornings. But also your Friday Night Frights for the Halloween. And Bride of Frankenstein for Professor Geek tomorrow. Good. We've got anime rewatches with Mr. Matchstick, sometimes with Wolf 10, sometimes with Owen, have you done it live yet? The anime? I think I've seen you with Wolf 10, but we've got that going between Saturday nights and Sunday nights. We also have Study Hall with Aged Boomer, and I'm going to just call Troy Pacelli a co-host. You guys are so great together. I really like listening to you guys. Actually, I was listening right before I got ready for the stream. Aged Boomer was talking about video games, and so when Troy talks about geek stuff that I don't know, it's kind of synonymous. That where Aged Boomer starts to talk about video games, it kind of goes Troy's just kind of thinking something else probably. But he said something really funny, and there won't be justice, but I almost was on the floor just laughing, just the way Troy said it. He's like, I was like, they're talking about the PlayStation 5 and all the controversy going on with it, the business and the marketing going on there, and then Troy's like, so what you need to do, take your Station 4, take it to the backyard, throw some gasoline on it, light it on fire, go back in, play your PC like a real man. And the way he said it, I had like something hot I was handling too. I was like, oh no. So it's been really funny. And it's been really entertaining. So yeah, thanks guys for doing that. The Study Hall is your go-to for geek news on Sunday nights, not on YouTube Sunday nights. You know why? Because I have a social life that's outside of YouTube for once. Anyway, but I do like to catch up on Mondays for the Study Hall. So anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there. I think it looks like Troy Puccelli has done all the great links there. And I don't think I have anything else. I do really thank you guys for watching and listening. I will be out of the studio for the next couple weeks, but until I see you next, keep producing the art you love, and I will catch you next time. Thanks again.